New tonight, a motorcyclist is in critical condition after a multi-car crash in Salem. Witnesses say a motorcycle, sedan, and another car all collided at the intersection of Silverton Road and Williams Avenue shortly before 7 p.m. As you can see, one of the cars involved ended up hitting a nearby convenience store, damaging the door and the side of the building. Salem police say they're in the beginning stages of the investigation and are figuring out what happened. Welcome to KGW News at 11. I'm Christelle Kumwe. Some tense hours in Estacada today. A woman went into a home that didn't belong to her and would not leave. Art Edwards has the story.
This caused quite a stir in Estacada. It started about 11:30, 12 o'clock. It all happened at that house behind me on Southeast Current. There were two young guys who were outside at a picnic table in the front yard of the house. They tried to go back inside the house, but the door was locked. They could hear someone inside. They decided to break in the door to see what was going on. When they went inside, they found a woman inside, and she was holding a knife. She threatened to cut herself, so they backed out of the house. That's when some of the neighbors in the area started to show up to see what was going on.
I was riding my one wheel through here. I saw all the SWAT behind the fire station, so I was looking around and I saw them all right here. And the boyfriend of that lady was standing here freaking out.
Sheriff's deputies were here for several hours trying to get the woman to come out of the house. Neighbors took video of the scene as law enforcement took control of the situation.
They had a bullhorn. They were saying, come on out. They eventually said, you're under arrest. And then they had dogs and all sorts of stuff. I saw them carrying these flashbang dropping devices and stuff.
Finally, deputies made their move.
All of a sudden, bang. We look over and I didn't see an explosion or anything. It was just a loud bang.
Deputies brought the woman out of the house and took her away. No one in the house was injured. People living and working in Estacada say it's not the kind of thing that you see every day. Reporting from Estacada, Art Edwards, KGW News.
The fight for freedom and the rights of women in Iran brought protesters out in downtown Portland for a second week. Hundreds of people again protested today at Pioneer Courthouse Square to raise awareness about the lack of women's rights in Iran. This comes after a 22-year-old woman was killed while in Iranian police custody. She was detained because she was showing too much of her hair under her hijab. With uprisings continuing in Iran, the government there recently cut off access to the internet. Rallies across the country like today's in Portland are bringing awareness.
They're literally like walking out on the streets and getting killed for using their voice. But many of them don't feel that they have anything to live for anymore under this government. So when they see us being their voice, it gives them power. It makes them feel less alone.
For over 40 years, the Islamic Republic has held power in Iran. Protesters say it's time to put an end to the regime. Thousands of catalytic converters have been stolen from underneath cars all over the area this year. And Tigard is a hotspot for these thefts. Now, the Tigard Police Department, along with a local car repair shop, are working to make catalytic converters less appealing to thieves. Blair Best explains how marking them with paint could make a difference.
There is a steady flow of cars outside the Tigard SUV and auto repair shop. As crews spray painted,
we'll do a template of either like Tigard PD or Tigard Police if we're able to.
And carved identification numbers into nearly 50 catalytic converters, all for free.
What we're trying to do is actually be preventative instead of reactionary to the increased numbers of catalytic converter thefts.
Last year, 222 catalytic converters were stolen in Tigard. So far this year, there have been 157 reported thefts. The hope is by marking the catalytic converters, police will be able to easily return the stolen ones when found.
Well, over the last couple years in particular, we've seen the number grow, and it's just because of the precious metals that are inside of them that are so valuable.
But it's not just Tigard. This is a problem in surrounding areas like Portland and Beaverton, with Portland Public Schools out thousands of dollars to repair 5 district trucks. The Portland airport now ramping up security after numerous of these thefts there. And most recently, Beaverton police seizing 3,000 stolen catalytic converters after a year-long investigation. This despite a new Oregon law that went into effect in January aimed at preventing these types of crimes. The law ensures scrap metal businesses only buy catalytic converters from commercial sellers, not thieves. It's been about 7 months since that went into effect, and these thefts don't seem to be slowing down.
It's so prevalent today.
Patricia Graham came to Saturday's event, but like a few others, learned her car was already protected.
I was extremely lucky about BMW has a plate underneath my car which protects it.
Tigard police encourage people to take other preventative measures, like parking your car inside or moving it often if it sits in one place.
I think this is an absolutely wonderful idea, and it helps the community tremendously.
The reception has been phenomenal from the community. Their expression of appreciation has been felt today.
Today's event filled up in 24 hours, so if you missed it, the Tigard Police Department plans to do more in the future. In Tigard, Blair Best, KGW News.
A 4.4 only occurs maybe every 5 to 10 years. I mean, it is not a real common.
If you felt the ground shake Friday morning, you are not alone. An earthquake hit the Lynn County area just before 6 a.m. The epicenter was about 9 miles from the town of Lacombe, southeast of Salem. The USGA says the quake was a magnitude 4.4. The good news is there are no reports of damages. However, it is a reminder that there is the potential for an earthquake that is a lot stronger than this. Daisy Caballero checked in with the experts.
Oh, I'm a sound sleeper, and to wake me up is a lot. I mean, like I said, the whole bed was shaking. I thought my body was having convulsions, big time.
The small town of Lacombe, Oregon, population 581, located southeast of Salem, was the epicenter for a 4.4 magnitude earthquake before 6 a.m.
A 4.4 only occurs maybe every 5 to 10 years. I mean, it is not a real common.
Dr. Scott Burns is a professor of geology at Portland State University. He says this 4.4 earthquake is unusually big for Western Oregon, but doesn't believe it's a precursor for the 9 magnitude earthquake known as the Big One that's expected to hit the Pacific Northwest sometime in the next 50 years.
So it's very typical and expected type of earthquake, but it's also very unusual for us. You know, we haven't had one of these like this since about the early 1990s in Scotts Mills.
Chris Goldfinger is a professor of marine geology at Oregon State and has been studying conditions for the Big One for over 30 years. He was actually in Japan in 2011 when the devastating 9 magnitude earthquake and tsunami hit.
We tend to think about these gigantic things like magnitude 9 earthquakes sort of like an asteroid coming from outer space. Everything, it's going to, like the New Yorker article is a little over the top in the sense it sounds like everything west of I-5 is going to be just wiped off the face of the earth, and that's not really the case.
Chris believes those who would be most impacted by the Big One will be along the coast, but those in the valley will have a little less to worry about.
When the Big One hits, people most affected are going to be along the coast, because not only are they going to have the shaking and the landslides and the buildings going back and forth, they also have the chance for a tsunami.
Both Scott and Chris believe this 4.4 earthquake was a great reminder to get prepared.
And I encourage everybody to have an earthquake kit in their home. You know, get food and water for 2 to 3 weeks, and you're going to go into a camping mode.
All right, meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining us. And Joe, we are well into October 8th. We are well into fall, but somehow we are still seeing temperatures in the 80s. Are we hitting some kind of record here?
We are. Today it was the 6th day so far this month with temperatures 80 or above. And obviously October, we're approaching the middle part of the month where you should be going to the pumpkin patch in your boots. No, you can do it with your shades and your flip-flops, because we're going to be seeing another round of sunny and warm conditions heading into tomorrow. Look at these numbers behind me. Almost 90 degrees in Hillsborough. The Portland International Airport not far behind with a high of 87 degrees. In fact, that was a record high earlier this afternoon. Along the Oregon coast, temperatures were really nice along Astoria. Temperatures close to 70 degrees throughout parts of Hood River. You got into the low 80s. Now, right now, we're looking at temperatures at this hour right around the mid to the upper 60s. Still very pleasant out there. Over in Bend, you're seeing a temperature of 59. We'll start to see some areas of fog roll throughout parts of the Oregon coast. But here's a live look now from a Rose City camera. 65 degrees and very pleasant conditions, and it's going to be just as nice heading into tomorrow. But we did see some new records fall. Of course, that was the case at PDX. The old record was at 83. We topped out at 87. Troutdale saw a record of 85, almost 90 in both Hillsborough and McMinnville. Average high for this time of year is right around 68 degrees. We're going to be well above that heading into tomorrow. So as we look at October so far, 6 days with temperatures 80 degrees or warmer, we're going to add to that heading into tomorrow. So let's say we hit 80, which I don't think we're going to have any issues happening. We will be seeing a new record for the warmest, basically the warmest October on record with 7 days with temperatures 80 or above. And then looking into the next few days, we'll be looking at another round of sunny and warm conditions. There is a slight chance to see some showers though in the forecast. I'll talk more of that in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Joe. Well, this time next week, President Joe Biden will be in Oregon. The White House says he'll be here next Friday and Saturday. No word yet on his itinerary, but it's likely tied to the upcoming election. Now, this is video from the president's most recent stop in the state. He traveled to Portland back in April to talk about investments in infrastructure. You might notice something a little different in the Portland skyline tonight. The Oregon Convention Center is lit up red. The spires will remain red overnight to honor fallen firefighters. Today marks the 41st annual National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend, which is sponsored by the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Each year in Maryland, the foundation hosts a national ceremony for those who died in the line of duty.